And here we are, betrayed.
Barry, how could you?
Fucking Barry.
How could you toy with my emotions like this? You were supposed to destroy the Sith, not join them!
And then it got slightly choppy again for some reason. Okay. Pull the lever, Kronk.
Wrong lever, Kronk.
No, that was the right one.
Oh. There's a... what is it, a broken flamethrower that goes in that?
Yep, I picked it up already. Bitch, could you not?
Seriously, how many rockets does it take?
Infinite. And even then, like, she doesn't die until Umbrella Chronicles.
Jesus Christ.
Which is technically takes place during Resident Evil 1, but, you know.
Whatever.
My question is, how the fuck did Lisa live in here? How did she open that door? Lock it?
T-virus?
Yeah, but if she forced open the door, it would remain open.
Yeah, whatever.
Locks typically don't continue to work after they're broken.
Snake! It's a snake! It's a badger, 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 mushroom, mushroom!
How is it that snakes... well, can snakes actually do that? Can they glide on top of water?
Snakes can kinda do that.
I was just trying to figure out how the hell that worked.
Well, like humans, snakes kind of float on water.
Well, they are big, basically empty sacks of meat.
They're buoyant. Family picture.
It's a picture.
But there's something written on the back. November 10th, 1967. Ah, right.
Didn't work. Throw it out.
Kinda worked, but...
Keep it, I guess. Maybe. I don't know.
throw it in a cave, see what happens.
George, dead. There's a journal left by someone. This is very sad.
Yes, it is. This is what I was talking about when I said that the Lisa Trevor side plot disturbed me.
I found Mom, and then I tore off her face. But I mean, I guess this is what happens when a man-made virus destroys higher brain function. Or if you're one of those special people out there who can be shot up with a man-made virus and not lose total mental capacity.
Okay, I gotta point something out. That was an incredibly obtuse hint for a puzzle later involving Lisa. And it's just like, how are you supposed to intuit that this bizarre, half-intelligible note was explaining what you're supposed to do later? It doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Well, she was still kind of there at the time. At this point, I don't think she can really write anymore.
She was kind of there? She ripped off her mother's face and was wearing it as a mask.
In all fairness, it's not really difficult to damage a human being.
Granted, we are fairly fragile.
We have pretty low natural defense. We make up for it with our absurdly high, comparative to other species, intelligence and wisdom.
And endurance.
Well, constitution.
And endurance.
That's why I said constitution. That kind of encompasses endurance, too. Endurance is a skill. Constitution is a stat.
If you're talking about Dungeons and Dragons, sure.
Well, yeah, having good constitution also means you have good stamina
Anyway.
and you don't barf when you see something gross and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I got it. 10-4, good buddy.
Here we are. Outside again. The wind blows.
Wind blows. Shit. Fire burns.
What I don't get is, like, what the fuck is the point of that cabin even? What's the point of any of this stuff outside the mansion?
I don't know.
Like, even from a design perspective, like, I can understand the cemetery, but they have fucking 2 cemeteries. Bye, Felicia.
It really doesn't make any goddamn sense.
They could just have, like, all their random emergency exits in trees or something.
Yeah, they could.
Rather than build a fucking obvious-ass building.
It seems to me like the cabin was intended for the groundskeepers, because whoever was living in the mansion was obviously too rich to let the help live with them.
I don't understand why anybody would want to be a groundskeeper and live, like, away from the house, next to a cemetery.
Yeah, I don't get it either, but...
Like, literally nothing about that makes sense. I don't understand how anybody can live next to a cemetery to begin with.
It's...
Scary?
Japan.
Well, I mean, plenty of people live next to cemeteries for some godforsaken reason.
Now, thinking about that, there was actually an elementary school in my hometown next to a cemetery.
I actually think the elementary school here is close to a cemetery, like down the street.
That's kind of fucked up.
Not as fucked up as living next to a cemetery. Because, like, even if it's at school, like, you only have to be there for a few hours. If you live next to a cemetery, you're stuck being next to a cemetery basically all the time.
I guess. Though it is preferable to having your house built on top of the cemetery.
Or in the middle of a cemetery.
We want to avoid the exorcist here.
Split pea soup.
Don't want to be vomiting split pea soup across the house.
Speaking of houses, I'm finally done with this house.
Oh, thank Christ. We're finally out of this place. Lisa, what the fuck? How did you even...
I think the funny thing is, like, how does Jill not know what the fuck that is at this point?
Yeah, it doesn't make any goddamn sense. Again.
Granted, you're probably actually supposed to check that door at some point before now, but...
Well, yeah, okay.
While you're searching the hall for Wesker.
True. Still, how did Lisa get below the mansion?
Well, technically, those kids are below the mansion, too. They're kind of, sort of connected. Maybe she, like, climbed through the caves somewhere. I don't know. I'm sure there's a big tunnel network. Or something like that. I don't know. How did anybody get through to any of these areas prior to us to begin with? Like, at least Wesker has an excuse. I'm sure he has the master key.
Probably, knowing Wesker.
A master key.
Barry!
Jill.
I'm totally not hiding my gun, that you obviously already saw.
I was worried because I thought you were
you know, killed by me.
Start talking.
Calm down. I didn't want to do it. Believe me, I can explain.
Yeah, I bet you can,
Don't
Barry.
lie to me.
Well, that's how she came in. The door was actually open.
Huh.
I'm my own tentacle monster.
No time to talk. Jill, hand me my gun.
I guess.
Thanks, Jill.
Why did you do that to begin with, Barry? You were never truly disarmed.
I was going to say, you wouldn't not give Barry his gun back, would you?
If I really wanted his gun, I would. Wouldn't.
Yeah, but I mean, it's Barry. He's a stand-up guy.
Except for the part where he totally fucking betrayed us. Are you gonna shoot at any point, Barry, or are you just gonna leave this to me?
Does that answer your question?
Bye, Felicia. Speaking of that puzzle.
Yes, this is the puzzle I was referring to. The note you picked up from Lisa was a clue as to what you were supposed to do, which is push these 4 stones off of the platform. You don't actually have to damage Lisa until she dies here. You can just push these stones off, and then this happens.
She picks up a skull inside and then jumps off herself, but...
Yes, this is presumably her mother's tomb.
That they gave her a special tomb for some reason, and attached the puzzle to it.
But anyway, if you push those off, Lisa will take her mother's skull and jump off.
Although I'm pretty sure if you don't damage her enough and knock her off, she'll climb back up. She'll dangle precariously from the edge and then climb back up. Meanwhile, I just fucking blew Lisa's ass right off the platform, and as she's getting up, that first stone slab just lands on her. This is sad. I think it's kind of interesting that Jessica goes from like speaking to herself in kind of a strange third person, and then is suddenly lucid.
It is a little bit strange.
But then again, magical zombie viruses.
Yes. But yes, very sad and unsettling.
So we gotta talk, Barry.
I don't believe that thing's really dead.
Good intuition.
Leave this place up to me. Go on ahead.
Really shitty intuition,
Okay.
but okay, I guess I'll believe you. Again.
You're skating on thin ice, Barry, but we're going to trust you this time because you're a stand-up guy.
I think at this point, like... Well, no, if this were us, I'd probably kick you in the balls and be like, fuck you, and then I'll go on ahead. And then I'd probably take your gun, too.
Damn it.
Like, this is how it feels. This is how it feels to be up shit creek without a paddle.
More highly compressed FMV.
Insert sound of toilet flushing. See, at least that kind of makes sense that this elevator would still work despite all the water, because the water wasn't actually on it.
Uh-huh.
But still, no fucking rails until you get closer to the bottom there.
Yeah, not very sensical.
And here we are. In like the last 30 minutes of the game. And then Rob sent me a bunch of messages on Skype. Rob, that guy that was on the show at some point, and may yet be again someday.
On the other hand, it's not like he will ever play Resident Evil 6 again.
I'm sure he was probably disagreeing with you.
Next time on Radical Bromance, we might play Resident Evil 6, but it's not likely.